2021 was a great year for anime. It was hit after hit after hit after hit. Isekai had some bangers, romance had some bangers, slice of life had some bangers, even furries had some bangers. Not to mention what is arguably the era-defining show, Redo of a Healer. And among all this generational talent, SK8 is nowhere near as good. With how stacked the roster was, it definitely got a lot less attention than it deserved, but at the end of the day it is just another seasonal anime, destined to fade into the ether. But even for a throwaway seasonal anime, watching it felt kinda off. The story starts by introducing us to our main character Reki. He likes skating and he skates at an event called S, which is an illegal inner circle for skaters to race against each other with no rules. And wait, hang on. We're introduced to our main character Langa, a transfer student from Canada that moved back to his mother's hometown after his father passed away. He attends S with Reki and shows that he has a lot of talent because of his background in snowboarding. I think you're beginning to see the issue here. It's not exactly clear as to who the main character actually is. But that in itself is not actually a problem. It's not exactly uncommon to have multiple main characters, especially in shonen. Like Naruto and Sasuke, you could consider Sasuke's journey to be a side story, but with the amount of plot armor Sasuke has, he has to be the main character. But even then, one guy's name is also the name of the show. Even between main characters there's some sort of hierarchy. But SK8 didn't seem to have a balance. Reki lost his first beef. That's okay, it's only the first episode. Oh my look at him go! He's just so swaggy! Did he just spin across a broken rail? Is that even possible? Okay, Reki's giving a speech about friends and having fun. I mean, these things are important. Oh, he challenged the big stepper. He's about to get out. No, he's losing. Oh! Mandatory beach episode. Okay, Reki is a bit traumatized. He's feeling self-conscious that he's not as good as Langa anymore and is now considering quitting skating. I feel for the guy. But who cares? Langa is on a goddamn steel beam. His bag is not empty. You get the point. Reki was getting all the hardships and emotional turmoil, and Langa was getting all the evidence of growth and badass scenes. Each of them had what the other lacked to be a complete and compelling character. It didn't feel like two main characters, it felt like one main character split into two. It would have been better if Langa was the only main character. The entire plot revolved around his arrival, and he beat all his opponents in increasing difficulty. Starting with Shadow, then Mia, then finally Joe. Even though he struggled with the basics sometimes, he's able to overcome every obstacle with unique applications of his previous experiences. And Reki has all the makings of a perfect side character. He introduced Langa to S, taught him how to skate properly, he made a board specifically for Langa's strengths. He even took a massive L to the main antagonist so that he can be avenged in the future. I mean seriously, Adam had his number. That was embarrassing. Speaking of Adam, as the antagonist, he is a perfect parallel for Langa. He's like a glimpse into Langa's potential future. Someone who is far more talented than the people around him and is now no longer stimulated by a once beloved hobby because no one could keep up. The story was telling itself, just from the way the characters were set up. It was so obvious as to how the story was supposed to go. Langa as the main, Reki as a support, and Adam as the antagonist. So why is Reki front and center of so many situations? It's just sabotaging what would otherwise be a relatively solid story. It doesn't make any sense. Well, it didn't make any sense. Until... Okay, pause. It's a bit too soon for dramatic title screens, so let's review what we know about the characters first. Number 1. Reki is not a talented skater, but he is very passionate about it. Through his passion over a long period of time, he has gained vast knowledge about skating, from techniques to boards to everything in between. Number 2. Langa is a very talented skater and is very passionate about it. It fills the void where snowboarding used to be. He's always up for a new challenge, and so his skills continue to climb higher and higher. And lastly, number 3. Adam is a very talented skater but is no longer passionate about it. He fell out of love with skating after he found no one who could compete with him. Okay, everyone got that? Now, it's time for Reki to get his motherfucking chain back. Run the title screen again. Off to the races, and this time, Reki has something that no one was expecting. An actual plan. For you see, most people use relatively smooth wheels to reduce the amount of friction they experience, subsequently allowing them to go faster, but Reki's wheels had grooves. It made him slower than usual, which probably isn't ideal for a race, but there's one situation in which these types of wheels are advantageous: the rain. And so when it started raining, he would still have grip. It doesn't matter how much more talented or skilled Adam is, there's nothing he can do if he's slipping and sliding. Adam was ill-equipped to handle the situation, and thus Reki gained an edge. Looking back at our notes, Adam is the complete antithesis of Reki, which makes Adam Reki's perfect antagonist. As much as Reki loves skating, he cannot compete with Adam when it comes to speed or technique, so the only advantage that he had was his superior knowledge. It's an advantage born from the one thing that Adam lacked: passion. He proved that no matter how great the difference in talent, there are always resources at your disposal that can make up the difference. He can still compete with the best of them. And at the end of all that, he didn't actually win. In the whole series, Reki didn't win a single beef, but that's for the best. If we analyze Reki's experience, he introduced someone new to a hobby he is passionate about and was quickly outclassed by him. Not only is he far worse than all the people around him, he also makes the slowest progress. He spent the first 6 episodes trying to gain new skills to make up the difference. But the more he tried, the more obvious the difference in skill. It wasn't from a lack of effort, it was simply talent. After pouring your heart and soul into something for years, being forced to face the reality that you'll never be as good as the people around you, including the guy that started a couple months ago, would be disheartening for anyone. But skating isn't about winning. It isn't about being the fastest, the coolest, or the best. It's about every blissful moment of finally nailing a skill after bailing again and again. It's about racing your friend to school in the morning. It's about having fun. Losing all the time definitely sucks, but that should not cause you to forget why you fell in love with your hobby to begin with. Langa's story is quite the opposite. As I said before, Adam is like a look into a potential future for Langa. It's lonely at the top, such is the curse of being the best. The similarity of the two characters makes Adam the perfect antagonist for Langa as well, highlighting a very important crossroads that Langa is destined to hit sooner or later. And so, as if the wheels of fate were turning, Langa climbed higher and higher and higher, and when he finally reached the peak, he felt nothing. That kind of skating was empty, and so he chose the kind of skating which made his heart race. Trying crazy new tricks, jumping off of cliffs and skating with his friends, because that's more fun. Contrary to Reki, Langa didn't lose a single beef. He was undefeated, the 4-time if you will. But there's more to enjoyment than winning all the time. It's more important to be having fun. And so, the saga of the two main characters comes to a close, and all the pieces come together perfectly. The exact same message told from polar opposite perspectives. Fluidly, seamlessly, both stories catalyzed and impacted each other all throughout the series, and ultimately came together for a single shared conclusion. I'd say this one very specific aspect of the show is done better than more popular shows with a similar concept. I live for these fleeting glimmers of brilliance. Also, I think it's kinda cute that Reki started the show and then Langa finished it. That tied everything together quite nicely. Pretty good. 4 out of 10.